Good morning, and this is going to be the last time I'm ever going to host something for you guys, because after this, I'm going to be making my show, which is kind of crazy. And we're not just doing tier 3, we're doing the rest of the iceberg this whole video, so it's probably going to take like 5, 6, 7, or 8 hours to get through this, so let's do this. I think of this as a final hurrah to my old career, and into my new animation career, so let's do this. Starting with tier 3. Male Octoling Afro Hitbox Myth. So, male Octolings can have the Afro fit, and apparently, you can like shoot outside the hair, because you know it's big and stuff. And if you shoot it, nothing really happens, but people believe that if you actually, shoot it right there, you can get a hit on, but no, that's not true. It's just, the hitbox stays the same. So, nice try. Splatoon 1 Ink Brush Piranha Pit glitch. You apparently used to actually do this in 2, but it was patched out. But basically what happens is that if you like smack yourself with a paintbrush in Piranha Pit, you would look boneless. Because Inklings are boneless, but your character model goes a little bit crazy and stuff, and that's really it. Most idols that are not Inklings are actually cuttlefish. This actually could be true. I think it is true, because I know Pearl is confirmed to be a cuttlefish, and I believe the Squid Sisters are actually cuttlefish themselves. I'm not really sure, but then again, Captain Cuttlefish, I don't know how they're related, but I think they are related to the Squid Sisters. So they are also cuttlefish, but Pearl is indeed actually a cuttlefish. So that's actually kind of cool. So, yeah, the Inklings are not racist. Yeah, we're pulling that gag from the first layer of the iceberg. Ultra Hammer shortcuts. So there are sometimes if I think you have to mash the jump button while using the Ultra Hammer. Apparently you can do that to just jump over stuff. Like I remember there was a very popular one with Camp Triggerfish. That made me very triggered. I'm sorry. Where you could just go up to the opponent's side and just go hammer and stuff. Or, just hammer everyone. That was a bad joke, but, yeah, I think it got patched out because of how overpowered it was. Though, honestly, I think they should keep it in because, I'm really good at shooting people out of the Ultra Hammer, so it's fine. You just gotta learn how to aim and stuff. Why Splatoon 1 special weapons and, Rainmaker were banned. So, there's actually in-universe reason why they're banned. And mainly because they're very overpowered, which is actually true from what I've seen. Though I believe some have came back in Splatoon 3, but are like heavily nerfed. But yeah, they came back and stuff. But yeah, what I've heard, they were very, and I mean very overpowered back then. Especially the Rainmaker. That's why I got nerfed in 2 and 3. Using beacons to get out of the test range in Splatoon 2. That's actually true. I actually saw a video a long time ago where someone were using beacons to get out of the test fire and see what's outside of it, and it's just a normal, it's just Inkopolis and stuff. But it's pretty cool that you can actually get out using this exploit that I believe also still works. Splatoon 3 tutorial shortcut. So on Reddit, there's a video where someone goes up and inks a wall. And then uses the wall super jump to skip like a big chunk of the tutorial, which yeah, is pretty cool. I actually honestly figure out what this power is in Splatoon 3, and it's actually I never use it. I was gonna say it's useful, but I never use it. I never really use the new movement options in Splatoon 3, which is probably why I kind of suck at the game. Great Zapfish removed in an update. I've already talked about this in Tier 1 and I believe a little bit of Tier 2. But yeah, in an update, the Great Zapfish was removed in an update by accident. And then was put it back after a while, so it was odd. It was very odd. Hidden comic in Splatoon, like Nintendo Splatoon website that tells about the events between Splatoon 1 and 2. That is actually true. I think you believe you could still read it, but basically it just tells you the events of Callie going with the Octolings and everything else going there and stuff. And honestly, it's kind of a tragic tale. I mean, going to your enemy for help is kind of wild, but you gotta do what you gotta do. It depends on who your enemy is, because I'm not asking Hitler for help. Yo, chat, I think I might be cooked, because my brother said that he's going to art school, and he said if he fails art school, he's going to politics. What should I do to prevent this? Spike and Merch eat sea snails alive. This is actually true, because in order to like get abilities or scratch up other abilities to make room for abilities, you do have to trade in sea snails and stuff, and yes, they will eat them. They freaking will eat them because, you know, they're urchins, and I believe urchins do eat sea snails, which I know is kind of grim, but let's be honest, it's the circle of life. That was corny as fuck, my apologies. Rocket and 8-ball game mode. So in Splatoon Octo expansion, there are 8-ball game modes. I don't know about the Rocket though, I'll talk to my friend about that one. But yeah, there's an 8-ball game mode where, you know, you play with the ball and stuff and try and, you know, push it to the other teams and stuff, like to the place. I believe this was supposed to be an actual like game mode in ranked Splatoon, which would actually be kind of fun. It's kind of like capture the flag and stuff. It would be pretty cool. Like, but instead of like, you know, ones you have to put in it's 3 times. It's like, you know, it's like a sport and stuff. Like, it's like playing football. Like, ooh, a football inspired minigame would go absolutely hard. Like, you have to do it in 4 chances. Otherwise, if you don't, you have to give it to the other team. That would be epic. Yeah, football game mode, I would play the shit out of that one. The Tower of Inkopolis. There's many theories surrounding this thing. At least I think it's supposed to be a theory. But basically, it's the most iconic place in Splatoon. Like, it's in the first one, but you can actually go to it in Splatoon 3. And you can actually sort of see it in the horizon in Splatoon 2. Like, this is literally like the battlefield of Smash Bros. That's what it is to Splatoon. It looks pretty cool too. Like, there's nothing really significant about it other than, you know, that's where you battle and stuff, but it's pretty cool. Inklings have been to the moon. That's actually true. Apparently in some moon maps you can actually see like actual like Inkling steps there and stuff. Like, you know how we've been to the moon and, you know, we put the American flag on the moon? No, the moon landing is not fake. I'm not one of those dumbasses. But yeah, there's actually like lots of evidence that Inklings have been to the moon, which is actually pretty epic. Even though we didn't really need to do that because, you know, humans have been to the moon, but yeah. Apparently, there's been discovered of fossils on Mars, so aliens do exist, and I'm fucking terrified. Unused Octo expansion stages. So Octo expansion actually has a few unused stuff. Some that are actually very terrifying, and one of them is the stages. Now, one that's very popular is the one where you have to like run up in this like high-speed chase kind of thing and try to catch up with Tartar in it. And I thought it looked pretty cool. It's not, you know, scary or anything. It's more cool than anything. So I'm kind of glad. I wish it was on here because I like chase scenes in video games. It's really cool. But this, I can see why it was probably scrapped. But yeah, this sucks. Offensive gesture removed in Mario Kart 8. So when Inkling became a character in Mario Kart 8, she had one offensive gesture where she goes up and flexes her muscles by grabbing her muscles and stuff. And apparently that's very offensive in European countries. Like, our equivalent of that is the middle finger. I don't know if other countries do it, but I feel like I think they done. But yeah, this is actually as bad as the middle finger back in Europe. You know, and I know it's not a thing too offensive compared to what I've done, but, you know, you don't want, you know, Nintendo characters flipping the bird everywhere, right? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that makes sense. I actually was kind of aware of this for a long time because, you know, I didn't know this was offensive, but now you know it's offensive to Europeans. So, if a European pisses you off, instead of flipping you off, just flex your muscles. You know, show you're more dominant than them. Don't do that unless you want to get jumped. Splatoon gummies. Apparently this is under the Splatfest thing, but I don't think that should be true because, funny enough, I actually have these. Apparently these are gummies that are only exclusive in Japan. If you're wondering how I got my hands on these, despite never stepping a foot out of my country for like all my life, I had an uncle who lived in Japan and he got us these Splatoon gummies, and I'm just gonna say it to you. These gummies taste like shit. Like, I had them back in 9th grade. I was eating them in science class. I don't know why I remember that. And my teacher, Mr. Raider, Splatoon Raiders, that's funny. I was eating them and I'm like, damn, these are shitty gummies. How do the Japanese survive with this? Like, I've tried other Japanese sweets and they're really good, but the gummies taste absolutely like shit. Like, I thought I was gonna get premium quality product, you know, because, you know, it's their home place. Then again, you know, with stuff released here in America, we always get the shit can of the stick, even if it's from a country that's, you know, here from America. So the fuck did we do? Actually, we just kind of deserve it, if we're being honest. But yeah, the Splatoon gummies taste like shit. Single player without firing. I don't know what this could be referring to. I think it's referring to those challenge videos that I've seen in Splatoon about can you beat like the single player without firing the hero shot and stuff. I've seen that video exactly. But basically, you know, it's about beating the game without, you know, shooting any weapon or stuff like that. Which is actually pretty hard, though. I think it is doable. Because most of the times you're not really fighting enemies. You could just, you know, go past some areas without fighting enemies. So, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but it is a pretty hard challenge if you do it. Unattainable Squid Beat songs. Splatoon 1. So in Splatoon 1 and 2, I don't know about 3, you can actually go to one of the machines and like play like Splatoon Guitar Hero without the guitar. It's just like a Splatoon rhythm game. But apparently in Splatoon 1, there's unattainable songs you can't get. That kind of sucks. Boo-hoo. But this is a shooter game, not a rhythm game. This is just a bonus, alright? Chill. Yeah, I am not doing this whole Iceberg in one go. I'm just going to do tier 3 and then exit out. Unattainable single player gear. What this could be referring to is the amiibo gear, which, you know, you can't really get it through normal means unless you plug in like a Cali, Marie, Pearl Marina, and Shiver Fry, you know, all those amiibo and stuff. Which, I know kind of sucks, but honestly, I mean, that's what the amiibo is, just DLC and stuff. I don't even want to look up the prices. They're probably, like, very expensive, and, you know, they maybe are, and, screw that, but, yeah, it's a hefty amount for, freaking costumes in a video game. I mean, then again, you know, it's rich people stuff, you know, rich people gotta flex their stuff, just, you know, I don't really have a single Splatoon amiibo. The best amiibo I have is Rob. Now I gotta get myself a Sora amiibo to prove that I'm like that, since I'm now a Sora main in Smash, but you know what I mean. Inkopolis Square out of bounds. I actually have seen a lot of videos where people would just phase out of Inkopolis or Spotsville through like hacking or just messing with the game code, and it actually looks pretty unnerving. Like, it looks kind of creepy when it's just, you know, just out of bounds and stuff. Like, you just look at the place and you're like, dang, this is what's outside. This is freaking creepy. It's so unwelcoming, and I guess that makes sense. Calamari Incantation in Skipper Pavilion. Sometimes you can actually hear the song on the stage. Yada yada yada. I don't want to hear it. Look, it's not that I'm interested in this entry. It's just I'm so tired of hearing this song. Like, I get it. It's good. But, you know, it's just one of those popular songs where I'm like, okay, I can vibe with it. And after a while, it's overplayed. I'm like, alright, can you just listen to a new song? Please, listen to a new song. Like, I don't know. Listen to Nirvana or something. Like, jeez. Octo Shot Skip and Octo Expansion Escape. So in one of the many levels leading up to the final boss, there's a speedrunning strat where you actually have to get an Octo Shot and then blast your way through a level and stuff. But there's a way to just do everything without the Octo Shot, and you just have bombs. You just like have to bounce it out on a wall and then pray that the spot bomb gets to a switch and then all that stuff. I'm not a speedrunner, so this is useless, but any speedrunners here, because, I don't know, I'm just not much of a speedrunner. I just like enjoying the moment in video games. That's it, I'm getting lunch and I'm going to do the dishes. Screw this. Please add anti-cheat. So this is probably from the community where, in Splatoon there were so many hackers, like they were just spamming bombs and specials and all that stuff. So people were fiending, and I mean fiending, for the developers to add anti-cheat, which, you know what, that's fair. That was fair. I've heard it was a huge problem back in Splatoon 1, and I think a little bit in Splatoon 2, though I haven't really encountered these guys, so I think they probably did, but I'm not sure though. Shifty station leaks. There are a lot of leaks of what the next Shifty station could be, and that's really it. But yeah, there are lots of leaks of it. Though, you know, if any big project, of course there's going to be leaks. So, yeah, that freaking sucks, I guess. Octo expansion plot holes. Apparently there's plot holes within the Octo expansion DLC and the lore of Splatoon. I couldn't really find really many myself. I'll probably talk to my friend about it and credit him in the end of the video. Commander Tartar concepts. Alright, this is probably my favorite entry in the whole Iceberg. So we all know Commander Tartar is the villain of Splatoon 2's Octo expansion, where he wields his giant face sculpture and tries to like destroy Megapolis and all that. But you actually used to have like be more involved with it. Like you don't actually like go up to the thing and just shoot the thing, but it actually does turn into many other things. The most infamous one and my favorite concept art of all of video games is this blender monster, which looks freaking eerie as hell. Though I understand why they didn't put it in the game, because it looks very nightmare inducing, like it will give adults nightmares. Honestly, I need to put this in my series. I need to put something like this in my series. It is so freaking scary and I love it. Alright, and the last entry for this video, yeah, I'm developing these tiers into parts. Octoling Pearl design. Yeah, this isn't Pearl's final design. Instead of being a cuttlefish, she was actually supposed to be an Octoling. So it's going to be like an Octoling idol group. But I guess since they looked super similar, because they already have Callie Marie being the, you know, the twin dual thing, they scrapped it. But I haven't really showed you Pearl's design yet, so here it is. And oh my gosh, she's so freaking adorable. I mean, I can deal with this. I feel like this would intensify the lesbian relationship too much, if I'm being honest, but holy crap, this is freaking adorable. Alright, it's currently the next day, and I just took a break from that announcement, but let's continue with tier 3. I was originally gonna stop the video here, but I'm like, let's continue. English lyric videos. Now this is more of a community thing, but when songs are released, these YouTubers would put English lyrics for them, so we could sing along to them, because I already said previously that these songs can have some you can kind of decode English lyrics from them, which is actually pretty cool. Some are actually sung in fully English by some covers. Like there was one, Fly Octo Fly, that was a good one, and that's really it. They're fun to watch. Calamari incantation is DNA of Inklings and Octolings. Now, we already know that this song is sort of magic, so the fact that it might have DNA of Octolings and Inklings might not be far-fetched of a theory. It's actually a pretty good theory if you think about it. Like, it's a song that brainwashes you into the other side. That's kind of crazy, you know, without, you know, use of technology. It's like, it's freaking music. You're using music to fight. This is the second song I've talked about on this channel where it uses music for power. The other one being Silk Song. I'm not playing that fucking game on this channel again. I'm gonna play it by myself because it's fun, but it's fucking hard. Inklings might be cannibals. This is actually kind of true. Look, hear me out. If you actually go to the food trucks in both of the Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3, you can basically order calamari. And as someone who actually have eaten calamari, I mean, honestly, I couldn't blame them. Look, I'm not a secret cannibal, alright? I just know that human flesh tastes like pigs, tastes like pork. But, yeah, I understand the cannibalism. I'm not a cannibal myself. Don't look at me like that. But, yeah, it's good. Calamari is good. Just don't take a look of what's inside the crust, because those tentacles look fucking scary. manga inconsistencies. So we already talked about plot holes in Octo expansion, but of course, yeah, the manga might have inconsistencies. I'm just the one that reads summaries off the internet. I don't really own any of the manga, but it would be cool if any of you guys owned the manga to know what your thoughts on it is. Splatoon. Okay, so this is a video made by Slimesicle of all people. It's been a while since I ever heard of that name, but I just watched it and I wish I did, because basically it's just a video made by Slimesicle where he's playing the global test fire, and just the funniest joke. He makes the funniest jokes. Offensive, granted, but funny. Like he put his skin tone in the middle, so he said he wouldn't be racist. Laughed, called all the colors autism, and said he likes it raw. I know it doesn't seem like to, but this is hilarious. At least this is hilarious to me. So goated Slimesicle. Now come with me and have some corn, or we will sacrifice your newborn. Woomy United today. After doing some research, I think this might be a fucking cult. Oh, hell no. I've already listened to Cracker Island by the Gorillaz. I know what I'm getting into. This is a cult. They're trying to get me to a cult. I'm not doing this shit. No more. No more cult. You think I'm suffering? Joke's on you. I got fucking nachos with me. False player. I think this is what happens when your player like data gets corrupted in Splatoon. I couldn't really find many stuff about it, but it's either a hacker, an NPC, or just a, I don't know, just some corrupted player in your lobby. So they're screwed. Haunted Toronto Splatoon statue. Alright, before I get into this entry, why don't games do this shit anymore? Where they just build statues and stuff, or do this weird promotions. Like, come on, do you really need money that bad? This would be freaking epic! Anyway, in Toronto, there was a giant Splatoon statue with this cursed England statue right here. It looks freaking scary. Why does it look like that? What the fuck? Anyway, people thought it's haunted because of, you know, how it freaking looks like and stuff, and just, yeah. Look, I'm just fucking pissed. Why can't we have stuff like this in Detroit? Man, can't have shit in Detroit. At least there's, you know, some art there. Not even AI art, like actual good art. Actually, no. Let's gatekeep Detroit. Let's keep gatekeeping them. If I ever have projects this big, I'm building statues in Detroit. I don't care. I'm gatekeeping Detroit. But yeah, guys, yeah, Detroit's full of guns and shootings and gangsters and rappers, and they'll blow your head out. Yep. When I went to Detroit, I definitely had the worst time ever. Yeah. It's definitely not better than LA or New York or anything. No. Yeah, let's keep Detroit niche. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, and by the way, I know it's supposed to be orange ink, but why does the fountain look like someone pissed in it? Headdress. Alright, this is a controversial outfit in Splatoon where this Inkling wears a headdress that's supposed to be Native American and stuff. As someone who actually is Native American, and I've actually met so many Native Americans in comment sessions, we're not offended by anything. In fact, the more Native American stuff, the cooler it is. Like, wait, we were offended by the Redskins? Wait, we were offended by the Cleveland Indians? Wait, we were offended by this? I will tell you, I think I speak for all of us, I don't think we're ever offended by anything. We're just happy we get any representation in the first place, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Stop feeling offended for us. If we're actually offended by something, we'll tell you guys, alright? Don't speak up for us, alright? It's not 2020 anymore, alright? Chill the fuck out. Sorry, it's just, I really hate when people, you know, try to be offended for us, when we can be offended for ourselves. Like, as a Mexican, and I know many other Mexicans that love the whole sombrero stuff. That's epic. And Moroccos and stuff like that. Like, I'm just saying, I'm not offended by anything. You know, I feel like no one's... Just stop feeling offended for us! Gambit and Blitz. When I searched it up on Google, apparently it's supposed to be... It's just another word for Clan Blitz. You know, that one weird mode in Splatoon. I don't like Clan Blitz. Like, it's just a bunch of weird sports and stuff. Like if I wanted to play basketball, I could play 2K. Putz 12. Okay, weird enough, the way people be talking about him, he's like he did the most heinous crime ever, but we'll get to someone like that later. But Put 12 is controversial for some good reasons, but not like cancelable, if you know what I mean. Basically, Put 12 is like a very popular Splatoon YouTuber and Twitch streamer where he plays Splatoon. The thing about him is that he rages at the most, like, his rage would make my stepdad quiver, because bro gets angry after everything. He blocks people after losing to them, or losing with the team and stuff. And one time, well, it's on the Iceberg, I'm gonna say it anyway. He yelled at a kid because he was playing with them in like some con and stuff, which you should never do. You should never yell at a kid and stuff. I've heard that things were situated, so that's good, but still you shouldn't yell at a kid. But yeah, he's regarded as the most angriest Splatoon player ever, and yeah, that fits him. But yeah, this guy freaking yells at everyone, and yeah, he's always angry and stuff. Stay away from him. Not like in a creepy way, just, you know. Look, I'm just saying, if you're if you play with him or against him, I'd brace yourself. Salmonoid Octarian theory. There's a theory that Salmonoids have been working with the Octarians because, you know, before Octo Expansion, we were in Salmon Run, and apparently they worked for the Octarians to like destroy us and stuff. I'm gonna say this theory is kind of bad because, you know, Octolings and Inklings are coexisting. I don't know, it's just a weird theory that I have to cover, and it's not really a good one in my opinion. Every Splatoon band member has lore. That is actually true. In the in-universe game, the songs that I do listen to are actually composed by the fictional bands in Splatoon. Kind of like how it's like how our version of it is like the Gorillaz or Your Favorite Martian, and I guess the Loving Tombstone in a weird way. But yeah, these are like fictional bands that are in the game. One that's most popular is actually Harmony, who actually works for she belongs to what was it? Chirpy Chips. And she also runs one of the shops in Splatoon 3. She's probably my favorite band member because look at her. She's precious. Why would you like? How could you hate her? That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, every member has like some sort of lore. Like it's freaking Gorillaz, and I absolutely love it. Splatoon was supposed to be a Mario spinoff. This was actually true. During the production of Splatoon, at first there was the Tofu build, which we talked about, and then there was the Rabbit build, which I believe we talked about, and now this is actually the Mario build. Splatoon was supposed to be a Mario spinoff, where Mario and the gang would just shoot each other with guns, but then again, it was the 2010s, you know, everything was edgy and stuff. This actually does remind me of this video I just watched last night, about 10 pieces of YouTube lost media, where there's this evil Yoshi video. Go find it for me. It'll make things a lot easier. But yeah, it's supposed to be a Mario ripoff, but the Nintendo's like, no, squids. ISO Padre was a failed Cannibal project. I think that's how you say the company name. So Cannibal is the corporation surrounding Octo Expansion, and if you actually talk to this guy, he seems a little bit weird to the point where he doesn't know his name. And apparently there's theories that he's a failed project from them. Though the cool thing is that if you beat the side order DLC, he actually does show up in Splatoon 3, just chilling and stuff. So I'm kind of glad that he has a happy ending himself, because this guy's freaking cool. Might be like my top 5 favorite Splatoon characters of all times because of just how he looks. Honestly, I would treat this guy to bowling. He seems broke. Sanitized Octoball. So I didn't know what Octoballs were, but apparently it was this thing from Splatoon. In fact, Sunflower, the YouTuber that made us another Splatoon Iceberg, actually had this as their profile picture in Discord. I used to talk to him, but yeah, apparently in Splatoon 2 in the Octo expansion, there was a Easter egg where there's a sanitized Octoball in there, if you can look at it a little bit. This image itself is pretty eerie, but then again, so is Splatoon, so we're in the right territory. Tentacoolers Insane buffs. Tentacoolers is a special weapon that is actually new to Splatoon 3, and basically it gives you like special drinks. I believe are energy drinks to boost players in battles. Now they have insane buffs like better, like faster speed, more damage and stuff. And honestly, I actually have been a victim of the wrath of the tentacoolers. In fact, I literally were trying to play against a team with it, and I got freaking demolished. And keep in mind, I'm not that bad of a Splatoon player. Honestly, it's really my teams. I'm not like one of those losers being like, oh yeah, I actually suck at Splatoon and my team's holding me back. I actually am pretty cool. One time, have you heard of this thing called flanking? I'm a master at that. In fact, my dad told me before he left for the war, flank your opponents in any shooter games. And then a pilot of Game Overs told me that if I'm having trouble aiming, shoot for where they're going and where they're not. Shoot if you're having trouble aiming, okay. But yeah, this special is actually kind of really good. Not like broken or anything. Like I feel like you can easily follow the thing by just destroying the tentacular itself with another special weapon and stuff. But for what it's done, this is like a really good special while not being too broken. Callie liked being brainwashed. What kind of fetish is this? Anyway, I don't know what this could really mean, but in one, before you fight Callie in Splatoon 2, she said that she liked her octo shades, but I think that's because she's brainwashed. I don't know if this is a theory or a fetish, but whoever made this, to quote Rich Love, get your freak on, boy! Marie wears funeral attire. I think this is talking about mainly Splatoon 2. If you actually have seen what she's looking at, apparently this is what they wear in Japan in funerals. Apparently from what I've seen, but that's really all I got from here. But I guess she assumed that Callie is dead. What a shitty cousin. Heavy the Squid, Omega the Squidman, and Ellie Goldelia. Now, Heavy the Squidman is in controversy because he was dating Ellie back in the day, and she was 15 and he was like in his late 20s. I think he was like 27 or 26, which is a huge creepy thing to do. That's pedophilia right there. On top of that, when people try to call him out on it, he would just start flying swears at him like the F slur. Now, I know I'm bi and non-binary, but even if it's slurs that I can use, I'm just not going to say them, but he said the F slur to many people who tried calling him out on it. Heavy the Squidman was the least controversial of this group, but he's still very controversial because he tried defending Heavy with pedophilia allegations, but when things were set in stone, he just cut ties with him and stuff. And that might be good, except the fact that he, first of all, was defending Heavy in the first place. But on second, that he was also harassing people the same way Heavy was. Omega was saying a lot of slurs to people too. And then Ellie is here because she's a victim of Heavy the Squidman. However, the reason she's on here because she faked suicide attempts and stuff, and she had multiple boyfriends because of the attention she was getting, which is really bad. Now, there's a reason why Heavy went from the TF2 community to the Splatoon community and called him odd because, you know, well, he's a pedophile and stuff. But yeah, these three guys are just horrible, and yeah, yeah. And I know I have to say this because people online are stupid, but please, I repeat, please do not harass these guys, alright? I feel like this should be gone without saying, but please don't harass them, alright? Just stay away from them. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, after all that, you want to know how low that was in Sunflower's Iceberg? That was the last entry of the Iceberg in his Iceberg. Yeah, that's right. We're only on tier 3, by the way. So let's begin. Small Fry singing Calamari Incantation and Happy Little Workers. Yeah, there's a few Easter eggs where you just would sing or hum the melodies of those songs and stuff. You know, something cute to take our minds off after everything here. Ugh. Why do Samoids get arranged around glowflies? Now, this is an interesting topic. I couldn't find anything. I'll probably tell my friend about this, but I did find some memes about it, like the Samoids and then Samoids one big run. And here's my favorite: when I die, I want my teammates to lower me into a grave so they can let me down one last time. Y'all need to be better at teamworking. That's all I'm trying to say. Vegetables inside Griller. So Griller is apparently a boss in Splatoon's Salmon Run. Specifically in 3, and oh my gosh, he actually looks fucking horrifying. Like, I know it's a grill, but, you know, I believe any household objects that are used in a boss in any video game are kind of scary in my opinion. Like, blenders in Splatoon 2, and now a fucking griller. Though the funny thing is that if you look into the files, there actually are vegetables inside the griller, which is freaking insane. That's actually kind of cool. Alright, now we're going to talk a few things about the manga, and honestly, I kind of like the manga entries because it's actually kind of fun to talk about the characters, so let's begin with that. Bobble Hat is Specs. This is a theory considering the characters of the manga. We know who Specs is in earlier tiers because he's one of the characters who wears the glasses, but people think that she or he is originally supposed to be Specs because she's the one that wears a beanie and always has her eyes closed. And if we remember when we talked about Specs, when he takes off his glasses, his eyes are very terrifying. So people are thinking that Bubble Hat is Specs. Now it's a good theory, but here's the thing. Come here closer. Your theory is actually kind of fucking shit, and your opinion doesn't matter. Okay, that's freaking rude. What I mean is that this is a dumb theory, if we're being honest, because they're two distinct characters, and apparently are childhood friends just because they're blue and stuff. But then again, you know, estrogen. You know, maybe this theory might be good. Aloha can surf. Now, I actually had to Google who this guy is, and it's a character from the manga, and I mean, no shit, he can surf. Look, not to generalize or anything, but that looks like a motherfucker that can surf. Bubble Hat originally had a splat roller. This is probably just a cut concept because she usually is there with a slosher, but apparently it was considered that she had a roller. Though if I'm going to be honest with you, rollers kind of suck. I'm more into shooting. Custom box art. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what this could be referring to. However, there is one thing I think it is probably official, and that when the final Splatfest of Splatoon 1 came out, Callie and Marie were, of course, the final topics, and people had these box arts where they could switch between Callie and Marie, but that's really all I know. Mario Coin. Alright, this is an interesting one. So back in 2020 was Mario's 35th anniversary, and now we're celebrating the Mario's 40th anniversary. But basically what this is, it's a coin that you actually get if you place top 35 in the Splatfest. Because for a special, in order to celebrate Mario's anniversary, they hosted a special Splatfest where you're on Team Mushroom or Team Star. And if you get like top 35, you get this special coin, which is actually pretty cool. Which, that means you have to be like really good at Splatoon you have this coin, which is pretty cool. Alternate dialogues. I don't know what this could be referring to. Oh wait, I think I know what this is. So, okay, so in the winners of Splatfests, right? Each of the idols say something, you know, about, you know, their topic and why they win. Usually there would be alternate dialogues if the other team wins, just in case. And basically that's really it, which is actually kind of fun that they, you know, thought ahead, but of course, you know, you kind of have to, and stuff, you know, because animation takes time and stuff, and, you know, just gotta do the stuff, do all that stuff. Shifty station glitches. Sometimes there'll be, people can perform glitch on the shifty stations, and you can still do that now because of private battles, but that's, basically really it. I think I've seen a few videos where people were performing dumb glitches on Shifty Station. September 3rd, 2022 leaks. So, sometimes copies get leaked on other countries. For example, it happened to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate because apparently it released in Mexico first, and then it released there, you know, there again. So people got early copies and basically leaked a bunch of stuff in the game and stuff. This was 6 days before the thing, and I know time zones and stuff, but you should not be shipping so many copies and stuff. Like, you just, have copies on boat, and then you got those guys that just be like, oh cool, free copy, just gonna pocket that myself, and stuff like that. Just, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I would do that. Look, I might have morals, but I am definitely no Puritan. Jakks Pacific / toys in general. Yeah, Jakks Pacific is mainly the maker of official Nintendo toys, but you say general toys, huh? I'll be right back. Also, not to brag, but I have my own splatter shot from the original Splatoon. The 11th Tentacle. Alright, this is just a fucking NSFW joke, but basically the joke is Inklings and usually have 10 tentacles, while Octolings only have 8. But male Inklings and Octolings actually have a second one, suggesting that the 11th or 9th tentacle is the dick. I'm gonna freaking kill myself. What the hell is this joke? Orca is inspired by GLaDOS. So I actually thought this was a pretty cool theory that Orca, which is like the leader behind Alterna, being inspired by GLaDOS from Portal. I never played Portal, but I've heard about GLaDOS, and wow, it's a shitty thing. But yeah, apparently it's supposed to be inspired by GLaDOS, which is actually a pretty cool theory. So I'm gonna allow this one. This one's good. Big Man is a head of a dance school, which is actually kind of true. I've heard somewhere that Big Man does teach dance, and honestly, I want him to be my teacher of anything, because I feel like he would be a great teacher. I love Big Man, is what I'm trying to say. Callie and Marie are cheering, depending on who's in the lead in Splatfest. In Splatoon 1, apparently if you can hear the Squid Sisters cheer and stuff, depending on who's the win. So, for example, if the Callie Marie Splatfest, for example, if Callie's winning, then Callie will be cheering on the group. But if Marie's winning, then Marie will be cheering on the group. I don't know if this is in other Splatfests, but if it isn't, they need to implement this in Splatoon 4 for getting it. But I feel like it's not going to be called Splatoon 4. I feel like the next Splatoon game would be called something different. But yeah, this is a pretty cool. And the last entry of this tier is the 3 tower jingles. When you actually take control of the tower in any of the Splatoon games, it'll play a nice jingle. Bravo Team will have a very short cutesy jingle, while Alpha Team will have a more Japanese-inspired jingle. I don't know about the third one. I need to talk to my friend about that. But yeah, that's it for Splatoon. The Splatoon Iceberg Tier 3. You have 7 more tiers to go until I actually go into my series. This is a passion project. I know you're probably acting like I don't want to do this. Like, I do want to do this. I thought about this as a final hurrah to, well, everything here, because I won't be able to talk to you guys anymore because I'll be making my series. But thank you guys for watching, and remember, stay cinematic. I can't believe I'm going to say that 7 more times and then it's over. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.